Hi Roberto, nice to see that you've written a new set of essays for us. Let's take a look at what you said in this set. The first one is your apology letter to Albion University. Here's what you wrote. Dear Sir or Madam, I'm writing to apologize for missing the public affairs exam that was delivered on this date. Moreover, I would like to explain the reasons for that, as well as why I failed to submit the formal evidence in time. While studying for the test, I felt really dizzy and suddenly fainted. I only revived at the hospital, where I had to stay for 5 days, as required by the doctors. Get rid of The diagnostic. No, you mean the diagnosis. The diagnosis from the medical exams was that I faced a burnout, most probably due to the pressure I was under to reach the high score required for me to pass in the course. Additionally, since I was in the hospital, I was unable to submit the evidence 1 day after the test as per university policy. Get rid of the apostrophe S. You could just say university policy, and that's acceptable. Therefore, I kindly request a further date for me to take a new exam. Please find enclosed the official sick note together with a copy of my student ID, John Smith, ID this, case number this. In case any further information is required, please do not hesitate to contact me. Yours sincerely, John Smith. All right, Roberto, this is lovely. It's written in a very nice fashion. The grammar, the vocabulary, all of it is really well controlled. Your paragraphs are nicely organized. So, no complaints in terms of lexical resource, grammatical range and accuracy, and coherence and cohesion. Good job on all of that. But there are 2 problems that I have to point your attention to, which will certainly cost you some points in terms of your score. So, let's talk first about the minor problem. This is it. You start your letter with Dear Sir or Madam, which is absolutely appropriate, no problems, but you end it with yours sincerely. That's inappropriate in a formal letter when we don't know the name of the person we are writing to. We start it with Dear Sir or Madam, but we have to end it yours faithfully. Okay? So yours faithfully instead of yours sincerely. That will be a problem in terms of the register and in terms of some of the conventions of letter writing, which would probably be reflected in your coherence and cohesion score. I don't think it's so serious that it would really reduce your score because the rest of it was really well done. But what I do need to talk about is the area that is a problem. Did you apologize for the situation? Yeah, you did. Did you identify yourself? Yes, you did at the very end. Did you give explanations? Of course. So let's talk about point 4, where you have to give possible resolutions. That's where your problem is, because the only resolution you gave is requesting a further date for you to take your exam. That's one resolution, but you're supposed to give resolutions, plural, more than one, and that's going to cost you in terms of your band score for task achievement because you haven't fully filled the requirements of that bullet. Okay, keep that in mind. You have to be really, really, really careful with the way the prompt is worded for task 1 and for task 2, but especially for task 1, you have to absolutely make sure that you cover all of these. Look at all of those ands, look at all of those ors, look at all of those s's at the end where they want plurals, okay? So, that's the one area that's going to create a problem for you. Let's take a look at your next essay. All right, so let's now look at your task 2. Local food, if it's better for the environment and economy. Let's see what you said. Experts throughout the world have debated whether it is more beneficial to consume uniquely. Get rid of uniquely. I think what you're trying to say is solely. So whether it is more beneficial to consume locally grown food solely rather than food produced far away. This essay will discuss both sides using examples from the U.S. government and MIT to demonstrate and prove arguments. Okay, that's fine, but they've actually asked you something really specific. They've asked you to what extent you agree, but you didn't answer it. So it's kind of like you're keeping the examiner in suspense, okay? You don't want to do that. If they ask you a direct question like this, to what extent you agree or disagree, you really should answer in your introduction. And let me explain to you why. Okay, I've pulled up the public version of the Task 2 Writing Band Descriptors. take a look at task achievement, band 7. It says, presents a clear position throughout the response. Now the key word here is throughout. What does throughout mean? It means from the beginning to the end. How can you make your position clear from the beginning to the end? You can do that only by making sure that it is clearly outlined in the beginning of your essay. Where? In your introduction. So rather than kind of keeping the examiner in suspense, just answer the question in your introduction to make sure that your position is clear from word go, okay? So, advocates of buying only from local producers argue that it can accelerate the regional economy growth as well as reduce the pollutants emissions. It's a little awkward. As well as reduce pollution. Honestly, that's the clearest way of saying this. Firstly, it can boost job creation, especially in rural areas where the unemployment rate is more pronounced. Secondly, shorter distances from the farms to the final customer reduce the emission of harmful gases during the transport of goods. For example, research from the U.S. government demonstrated that 28% of greenhouse gases emission comes from transportation. Therefore, it is clear that eating from locally grown food can be beneficial to both environment and local economy. Okay. Good, fine. But there are some areas that we have to talk about. First of all, look at this. You gave me this firstly here, where you said that it can create jobs, and then you talked about the environment, and then you gave me this example. Anytime you have a main idea, you really need to support it with an example. So you did that here for this secondly, the shorter distances, but you didn't do it here, that this can boost job creations. I want you to explain to me, how can eating local food boost job creation? Why? What do you mean? Explain it to me. Illustrate it to me. Okay? Anytime you present an idea, you have to back it up with some type of support. So what you did here with this, for example, you had to do up here as well. All right? Okay, so here you talked about the economy, here you talked about the environment. Now let's see what you said here. Conversely, although there is a case for buying from local producers, the benefits of opening the market to outsiders cannot be understated. This is largely because it stimulates fair trade, cutting prices down and increasing product variety. Additionally, producers who deliver to further locations are usually benefited by the use of cutting-edge, TTING, technology, which has proven to be more environmentally, ALLY, friendly. For instance, recent studies from MIT show that new farming machinery emits 30% less pollutant gases, spelled wrong, than, with an A, conventional equipment, no S. Thus, buying from different sources can be more economical and not necessarily environmentally, careful with your spelling, detrimental. Okay, so this is largely because it's stimulates cutting prices down, increasing product variety. Okay. Fine. Then you said cutting edge technology. All right, I didn't totally understand this, so I can't say it was the strongest argument I've ever heard, but it was okay. Taking into consideration also the fact that this had some grammatical errors, I felt like this paragraph was definitely stronger. Let's see. So let me explain to you what I thought wasn't really well developed here. Okay, so this is the part I didn't understand. The first part was okay. You said that fair trade is stimulated, this cuts down prices and increases variety at the same time. That's clear, no problems. But this part didn't make any sense to me. So you said that they're benefited by cutting-edge technology, which is proven to be environmentally friendly. I don't understand how this cutting-edge technology can't be used locally. Like, why does somebody have to import and work with distant locations in order to utilize environmentally friendly technologies? That for me didn't make sense. Now, I know you're probably going to say, well, Ellen, you know, this isn't a logic exam, it's an English exam. Okay, yeah, that's true. But they are going to check to make sure that your arguments are plausible, because sometimes the fact that an argument isn't plausible is actually because of some sort of barrier with language, some sort of limitation, and so forth. So, you know, some sort of maybe misunderstanding or some sort of inflexibility with the way you were able to express yourself. And that's why I'm really making a point of this. Yeah, I understand this first point. No, I didn't really understand the second point. And even here, you said new farming machinery emits 30% less pollutant gases than conventional equipment. Okay, but why can't local farmers have these new pieces of equipment? That's what didn't make sense to me. Okay, so I hope that that's making sense, and that you understand where an otherwise nicely written essay runs into some problems. Okay? Let's see. Your conclusion says, to conclude, I firmly believe that although buying from local producers should be encouraged, the fair trade should be respected in order to ensure better products at lower prices to customers. Okay, the fair trade part is fine. I think you probably could have said something more about that, actually, and how this is beneficial. You talk about it being beneficial to the economy. Well, yeah. You just say that it cuts prices down, increases product variety. I think you could have said more about how this affects, remember, our central issues here of the environment and economy. I would have liked a little more about that. Okay? So, good job overall. A lot of things that I like here, but again, some problems that will really, if you solve these problems, will help you really get to that next level in your writing. All right? Go ahead and correct these. Let's meet back here with your next set of essays. I'm looking forward to it. Okay? Good luck.